with Dr. David Silverman from Maryland right now. We've been very good friends for a long time. I introduced this to him about 8 years ago. I was flying back from the launch of the product that we are about to discuss, and he's been like a brother to me for many, many years. So I knew that he would be very excited if he could wrap his head around what this was and what a huge discovery this was. So I was coming back from the launch of the product. I got started with this company 8 years ago in August. So it's been almost exactly 8 years. And I was in a spot in my life. Basically, I had become a single mother, and I had 2 children. One had already moved out, and the other one was still living at home with me, going to college. And I had always owned my own businesses and been extremely successful. However, when 2008 hit, the person I was working for at the time, I had owned my own business and was an interior designer, but I had stepped down to help a man with his children's website, and he went bankrupt. And there was no money at all coming in. So I started going through all my savings, trying to just keep us in the house without telling my daughter what was going on, or my mother, who was elderly, and I just didn't want to stress her. And it was a very, very stressful time in my life. And I couldn't find a job anywhere. There were hiring freezes. Even the restaurant that I finally got a job on had a hiring freeze for months. And I finally got a job as a server. The only thing I could find. And so I was working double shifts at the time, just trying to make ends meet. And I was getting further behind on my mortgage, the only thing I couldn't pay in full for. And when I finally was turned down several times to lower my interest rate so I could keep my house, because they kept saying I wasn't making enough money, I got a letter of foreclosure. And that was probably the lowest point in my life. And I just couldn't look my daughter in the eye after everything that she'd gone through, and she'd gone through a lot, and say we're now going to be homeless, because I didn't know where I was going to turn to. And so I literally went upstairs that night with a letter in my hand and said a huge prayer. And I said, I know I can do this. Just send me something that I can help people with. That's something I've always wanted to do, just help people. But that will turn me around financially. And the next morning, before I ever woke up, my girlfriend from Colorado called. Her name is Cindy Buck. And she said, there's been a medical scientific breakthrough. You might want to take a look at it. It's huge. It has saved 3 of my best friends' lives. Well, I trusted Cindy implicitly, and I kind of listened to that thinking, wow, this is pretty big. I'd known her from another wellness company, and I just kind of looked up and said, thank you. Ran downstairs, and I watched a video that many of you might have watched by Alan Noble, telling me about redox molecules, which I'd never heard of, where they were made, what they did in the body, what they did for the body, and the cells in the body. And I was astounded. And I just thought, if this is true, this has got to be huge. And so I'm lucky enough, I've had a girlfriend who is very, very smart for many, many years at this point. And she had graduated from Johns Hopkins as a molecular biologist, and she was working at the National Institutes of Health. And she'd done research for them for years. And so I called her and I said, Elizabeth, do you mind if I bring some information over? I really need to know if this is real. Now, I needed to know, because if this was real, I only had 20 minutes a day. That was my break. I was working double shifts, and that's all the time I had. And so I knew that whatever I was going to do, I had to make a difference in my life with those 20 minutes. And I wasn't going to jump into something that there wasn't a really strong company, that it wasn't a very strong product, that it didn't help many, many people, that there was nothing else like it in the world, and that it was patented and couldn't be copied. And so that's what I was looking for. So I took this to my girlfriend. I put the information down in front of her. She took one look at it and almost fell off her chair. And she said, Debbie, I've been studying these molecules for 17 years. We've had people, scientists from around the world, come to NIH and try to stabilize these molecules. Are you telling me that somebody has finally been able to stabilize these molecules outside the human body in a bioactive form? And I looked at her and I said, well, yes. And she said, you have no idea how massive this is. This will change the medical field as you know it. Now, she wasn't in ASEA at the time, so she could say that. It's not compliant now. It'll change the scientific world as we know it. But she instantly went through, she looked it up to make sure it was completely safe. She got on it right away. She also pulled a book down from off her bookshelf right in front of her and just started paging through the pages, and it was all redox. And she's the first one that tells me that these little molecules are so small they'll go through the blood-brain barrier. She said, not only will you have amazing results in your body, but you're also going to have amazing results with things that affect the mental areas of your health. And sure enough, we've seen this over and over and over again. And so I've delved into it. I started going to many seminars about it. I really learned what redox molecules were and how powerful they can be, because this is the first time in the history of the world that we've been able to supplement our lives with redox molecules. Because as David will tell you in a few minutes, we start making less and less of them as we get older, and the signals that they're sending out are not very strong. And so your immune system doesn't get, as you get older, the message to come in and help your breathing, or help your eyesight so you don't wear glasses, or help your cardiovascular so your heart is healthy. It's just not getting the messages. And so when you're putting these very healthy, strong redox molecules back into your body can do incredible things that doctors never thought they'd see before. And so I'm going to turn this over to David at this point, because he is a medical doctor, to be able to explain what redox molecules are. You do not have to be a medical doctor to tell other people about this. But since David is so well versed on this, I want to turn it over to him. All right, David, it's all yours.
Thanks, Debbie. Thank you so much. And just a quick correction, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a podiatric medical doctor. I have a DPM degree. That stands for Doctor of Podiatric Medicine. I own my own practice and my own surgery center. I was board certified in foot surgery, board certified in primary podiatric medicine, and board certified in podiatric orthopedics. But that is my background, but I've sold my practice. I don't work for the company. Let me see if I can just share a screen real quick. I'm going to show you. I'm on the medical professionals board of the company, but I started as a customer. My dad was sick. My dad had a severe prostate issue, and that was my reason for looking at this. But I am, let's see, I'll pull this up here. Let's see, there it is, medical professional board. So I'm just one of the doctors on here. Dr. Richard Michael is an internist in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. He has a huge practice. He's got like 60 people working in his practice. He's just added to the medical board. We had Avi Herskovitz, Dr. Herskovitz, stem cell doctor in San Francisco. He just was replaced by Dr. Michael. It kind of shift in and out. I've stayed on. Dr. Hayes has stayed on also. She is a anesthesiologist in Texas. Dr. Malmet is a hospital-based chiropractor in New York. Jerry White is a physical therapist in Spokane, Washington. Sally Diamond is a licensed remedial massage therapist in Australia. And she works with a lot of top athletes, because that's one of the reasons people do take the time to look at this, is because of athletic performance benefits. But I'm going to share one thing real quick. I had this shared on my screen before, but I want to go to this and just tell you that for whatever reason you're here, we're glad you're here. Everybody comes to ASEA for different reasons. Me, it was my fault. When Debbie brought it to me, she told me what happened with her mother and what happened with her with the product. I wasn't interested in the business side of it at that point. My father was the sole reason I looked at this. That video was 6 minutes. It may be very helpful to you, 6 minutes, 6reasons.com. But these are the 6 primary drivers why people take a look at this. Number one, you're looking at it to see if I can help you with your health issue. Could be in your foot, your leg, your back, your liver, your kidney, your eye. You may not sleep well. You may have low energy. You may have focusing problems. You have an issue yourself. Second reason was my reason. You're looking at it for someone you love may have a health issue. The third reason is the fun reason, the anti-aging benefits. This product, as you will see, it helps the body identify and hear when there are cells that are either worn out, damaged, or mutating. Okay, damaged by trauma or just worn out. We're made up of 75 trillion cells, and millions are dying every second. They need to be replaced. They can't just stay at dead cells. The immune system's job is to go down and get rid of those bad cells. And it all relies on signals. It all relies on having good signaling in the body. So remember that. But skin cells are just cells. And if they're not replaced quickly, they lose their elasticity. And you can see what happens to us as we age. So, you know, we're going to talk about the anti-aging benefits externally as well. But the more important anti-aging benefits are the internal ones. The fourth reason is athletic performance, whether someone just wants to keep performing at a weekend warrior pace or they're Olympic gold medalists, because we have Olympic gold medalists on this product, and a couple of them are going to be at the convention next week in Dallas. The most important reason is probably protecting your health, because, you know, everybody, this makes sense to everybody I talk to. When you go to the doctor for a problem, it's probably been there for a little while, and then you get some diagnosis and you take a medicine and do therapy or whatever it is to hopefully get better. Sometimes you get a really bad diagnosis with a bad prognosis. These problems didn't just start. They started a long time before generally. You just didn't notice it, except unless it's trauma. If you have an accident, then you have damaged cells because you have an accident. But number 5 is important, because if you think about when you were a child, you healed really quickly. And children have very few health issues. They have them, but not compared to adults, okay? And there's no doubt children have issues, but not compared to adults. And a lot of them have problems with their mitochondria, which we'll talk about. But as we age, we deteriorate. Now, you may say a 20-year-old is healthier than a 10-year-old, but that's not true. A 20-year-old is stronger and faster, but they don't heal as quickly as a 10-year-old. Something happens between 10 and 20. Well, something happens between 20 and 40. Something happens between 40 and 60. What's going on? We're aging. And so this product is very tied to what younger bodies do, what they're able to do. And the 6th reason is not the primary driver for people, but I'll tell you what, if someone doesn't come to this looking for number 6, when the product validates itself for reasons 1 through 4 or 5, a lot of people are very interested in reason number 6. Because reason number 6 is the number 1 cause of stress in this world, and that's money. So there's an opportunity here. This is a patented product. We're very, very early. And the fact is, most people go through life struggling or settling. Almost everybody does. 90% of people go through life either struggling financially or settling. And I don't just mean settling with too little money. There's other things people settle with. Some people make a lot of money, but they don't have any time freedom, right? I know a lot of lawyers, a lot of doctors, they don't have any time freedom. They are stuck. They're wondering when they're going to be able to retire. They live to a very good lifestyle, but they don't have any free time because they have to work to make money. They're trading hours for money. And a lot of people settle with one more thing. They want to make a difference. They want to feel like they're doing something with their life that makes a difference. And a lot of times what they're doing, I mean, look, being an accountant is important, right? Cleaning houses is important. But it's very few people have the ability to do, say, what doctors do. Now, a lot of doctors actually hurt people with medicines, but they do help a lot of people. But people settle with too little satisfaction. So whatever your reason for being here, we're glad that you're here. We are. Whatever your reason is, you're here. I was initially for reason number 2, and then I looked at the opportunity. Now, this is all that I do. And all we do is teach people about this. And the company says thank you by paying us to do what we would do naturally as good people, is share something that's really good. I'm going to run through these 12 facts real quick about the company, then I'm going to explain the technology, because some of you are here because you've already seen the product work. You've had it validated, and we're going to tell you how to validate the product very quickly. But some are curious about the business. Some are saying, okay, I know this works. Tell me about the company. Well, here's some facts. In August of 2018, the company now actually is about 9 years old. There's the world headquarters. That's in Pleasant Grove, Utah, brand new building owned by the company. It's run by a highly experienced and conservative management team. They were profitable in year 1, and revenue has grown every year. So as opportunities go, most companies, network marketing companies, are out of business by the 5th year, 90%. We're in our 9th year, so we're 9 years old, and we've grown every year. They have 0 debt. They're very conservative. Remember I said that. very conservative. This is the production facility in Utah. It's right down the street from the global headquarters. It is an FDA registered facility. That means the FDA comes in and inspects it regularly. And anybody that's been there knows what it's like. It is like a pharmaceutical building is what it is, but it is not a drug. This product is not a drug, but it is FDA registered, NSF certified. This is the inside of the building where the magic happens. It takes 3.5 days to turn this product from its raw elements into what it is, which is stable redox signaling molecules. That's what this is. And what it was salt and water. It was saline. Think about when you go to the hospital when they give you an IV. Most of the time it's saline. Why do they do that? Because that's what our cells are filled with, is saline. That's what this product is made from. It is not saline anymore. It takes 3.5 days to make it, and it is patented. And there's plenty of double-blind studies that we can talk about for people that have questions, because we're going to open it up for questions at the end. The product is sent from this production facility to 18 global distribution centers around the world. So this product and the opportunity is already available now in the US, Canada, Mexico, 21 countries in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and it just entered the Asian market, Asian area of the world. Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, and the Philippines. That's where we're at, and it's very, very exciting. Company's done $500 million in sales since inception. Now, I think Edwina Lee is on here in Singapore. It's in the morning there on Thursday morning. She was talking to a businessman who said, look, if this company did $84 million last year in 2017, and I'll tell you what they're going to do this year in a minute. If they did 84 million, basically on one product, because about between 80 and 90% of sales is on this product, and they have others. They've got some others which are amazing. We'll talk about. But then this product must work. You can't be in existence this long and do this much business with something that doesn't work. That's amazing for one product, right? Well, guess what? I didn't put it up here yet, but we just got the numbers in so far to 2018. Same date last year, we were up 75%, projected to do 130 to 140 million this year. So we've hit the momentum phase of growth for business people, which means that when a company does that, network marketing company in particular, it goes viral. So it should double over the next few years. So if it does 130 this year, say conservatively, next year conservatively 250. The next year 500 million. Well, you know what comes in 2021? Yeah, $1 billion. This is a product that every person on this planet needs. They don't even know it exists yet. That's what happens with breakthroughs. People don't know it's there, but it's going viral, okay? That production facility is ready for that explosion. It's capable of producing 800 million a year as it is. But Vertus Norton, that designed the building, who was a strategic genius, you will see him in that Genesis video. He was in charge of international strategy of a $38 billion traditional company when he started this company. Came out of retirement from that to start this company, right? $38 billion company. It was brilliant. He built it with enough capacity to double output. They can put a parallel production line in and produce 1.6 billion a year. Within 2 weeks, they can put it in and get it running. So the opportunity is post-risk. We've made it past 5 years. We're entering momentum. They pay us residual income to educate people about this. It's powerful because half the money they make in revenue goes into the compensation plan. Excuse me. So that means that if you took this upon yourself to tell people about it and you told 10 people about it, they're thrilled. The company sends them the product. The company puts money in your bank account, money back guarantee for everybody, right? 30 days. So no risk. And we'll talk about there's no risk with the product either. But the company pays you every time those 10 people get product for the rest of their lives. The company pays you. That means you make money when you're sleeping. That's time freedom. Now, those 10 people can duplicate what you did. I'm just using 10 as an example. So if they each told 10 people, that's 100 more people knowing this miracle, this scientific miracle, right? Company's going to pay you for those 100 also. Now, what if those 100 did the same thing and they told 10 people? That's 1,000 people who know about this. Company's going to pay you for that too. If those 1,000 people each told 10 people, that's 10,000 people. That's the power of network marketing. And that's the power, besides the money, that's the power that one person with a breakthrough that changes people's lives can impact the entire world. So what do they pay us for? To acquire customers. And along the way, there are a lot of people struggling or settling. We try to identify, train, and support people who want a better life for themselves. And that's why we're doing this tonight, to help out. Okay? So let me explain what the technology is. Okay, now this is difficult. I'm going to do as quickly as I can. I'm not going to get into the whole textbook on redox signaling. I could, but I won't. For people that want this, great. Most people just want to know two things. Is this stuff safe, and what can it do to help me? So let me tell you what it is. It's redox signaling molecules. Redox signaling molecules. You see it at those websites, amazingmolecules.com. I put them in there for everybody to see in the chat bar. You can see it. Your cells make them right now. Your cells make redox signaling molecules from saline. That's what our cells are filled with, salt and water. It's in the mitochondria during what's called the Krebs cycle. We produce a molecule called ATP. We burn it for fuel, but we also produce these little called reductants and oxidants. Reductants are negative, oxidants are positive. They're charged, but they're made from 4 atoms: sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen. When I was a biology major at University of Maryland, and then podiatric medical school in Chicago in the 80s, there was no known function. There were no textbooks on redox signaling. There's over 1,200 books on redox signaling now, and about 17,000 studies at PubMed.gov, our country's, our NIH's Library of Medicine. But they found a function. What they do in the body is they amplify signaling. Now, I'm simplifying this because they boost your levels of glutathione. They turn on your genes that turn off as you get older. But the simplest way to explain it, the more you have, the louder the signaling is in your body. Now, why is signaling important? Well, when you think about it, children heal real quickly, don't they? A child falls down, they bang their knee up, and they're, a 5-year-old, they're healed up to like 3 days later, you don't even see it. You're 50 years old, you fall down, bang your knee. You could be in physical therapy, you're limping, you're taking anti-inflammatories. Why do they heal so quickly? Because when the child fell down, he or she damaged cells. So if you had good cells in your knee cap, say, and all of a sudden, boom, you fall down, now you got damaged cells. Well, the immune system's job is to get rid of that bad cell. And it could be damaged by trauma. It could be mutating, which is horrible. It could be worn out, it's old. But if the body doesn't get rid of that bad cell, you're going to have a problem with the knee forever. Same thing in the kidney, same thing in the retina, same thing in the liver, same thing in the brain. If they're all cells, we're all made up of 75 trillion cells. So now you got a damaged cell. How does the immune system even know to get rid of this cell? It gets a signal. The immune system gets a signal. It gets a call for help. The good cells around the bad one, they sense there's a problem, and they start sending this signal that goes to the immune system. The immune system cells hear it. They come down to the knee, the liver, the kidney, the retina, the prostate. They grab a hold of the bad cell. They signal it to kill itself. It does, if it's not dead already. It grabs it, it dissolves it, it gets rid of the debris through the lymph system, and then the good cell replicates itself. And now you have a fresh baby cell. That's what happens. What do redox molecules do? They amplify the signal. The more redox molecules you have, the louder the signal is. Well, as Debbie said, as we get older, we produce less and less and less. Our mitochondria become less efficient. You read this book if you're interested. There's tons of websites. We produce less and less and less. So the signaling goes down. So it doesn't matter if it's, you don't see people with tremors like this when they're 20 years old, right? That's brain cells. There's a problem with the brain, right? You don't see a lot of horrible mutations and spreading through the body. But as we get older, we see it more and more. They found a way to make the molecules outside the body identical to inside the body. It's called ASEA. Okay, topical drink version, topical version. There's a couple topical versions. Now, the topical is marketed for anti-aging, but it has a really cool property I'm going to talk about in a second. This is amazing because all you're doing when you drink this is it's identical to what's in you. It is literally made from salt and water. So there are 3 differences between this and a drug. Drugs have 3 dangers. 1, you could be allergic to it. It could kill you. 2, it could interact with another medication. It could get you sick or kill you. And 3, if you take too much of it, it will make you sick or kill you. Any drug, aspirin, acetaminophen, cholesterol medicine, depression medicine, if you take it properly, you probably aren't going to die. If you take too much more, you're going to get sick because your liver can't get rid of it fast enough. and you can't excrete it, you can't metabolize it and excrete it fast enough. And if you keep taking too much more, you are going to overdose and you are going to die. And I'm not just talking about overdosing from heroin or crack cocaine. You overdose and die from aspirin. You can overdose and die from any drug because your body can't handle it. This, three things. You can't be allergic to it. It's in you. It's in 7.5 billion people on the planet. It's in my dog. It's in animals. You can look this up. This is fact. Can't be allergic to it. Number two, doesn't interfere with medicines. So when people start on this product, they baseline everything in their health and they don't stop their medicines. They just add this to it. Then to see, okay, here's my sleep, here's my energy, here's the pain I have, all these things. And they just baseline where they are and they take it, right? People that have blood sugar problems, tell them to just check their sugar in the morning, every morning, because let's say their pancreas cells are not functioning properly. And by coincidence, we can't claim it helps diabetes, but by coincidence, let's say their sugar starts going down, right? Because let's just say their pancreas cells get replaced with good ones, they're producing insulin, and they keep taking the same amount of medicine for their blood sugar, they could go too low. So diabetics should always check their sugar every morning. And the third safety thing, as I said, is it's non-toxic. It's made from salt and water. If you drink too much of it, your body says, I have enough. It turns the excess back into saline. That's what our cells are filled with. This is not some outside exogenous chemical. This is identical to what's in us. I'm going to touch on the gel, real fast validation. This, give it 90 days. Please give it 90 days. 4 ounces a day for a week. If you're not seeing changes in 1 week, double it temporarily to 8 ounces a day. Once you see your changes, you can decrease to 4 ounces a day. Take pictures of your skin, okay? Wrinkles, any cellulites, prove on what it does, anything. Take before and after pictures so you can compare, because sometimes you see dramatic changes and sometimes they're really subtle. So you want to be cognizant of the subtle ones. But take this and find 10 people you know who are hurting. I mentioned this before, 10. Have them rate their discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10, wherever it is, menstrual cramp, fingers, back, neck. I don't care if it's a 1. I don't care if it's a 10. Have them give you a number. Shake this up. It's a clear gel. There's no smell. There's no greasiness. I've got it up against my finger here. And just put it on, not once. Sometimes once is all it takes. But put it on 3 times in 5 minutes. 3 times over a 5-minute period. And then just look at your watch and wait to the 10-minute mark and ask them how do they feel. Have them move whatever hurt before. You might be surprised if you saw 3 or 4 people say, wow, that's amazing. You might be surprised if you saw 6 or 7. How would you feel if you saw 9? What would you think within 10 minutes you saw 9 people look at you and say, what is this? Just do it. We can't claim it helps pain. It's not a drug. But we can certainly say, hey, it's safe as water, and you get 30 days to play with it with a money-back guarantee. If you're looking at it as an opportunity, definitely do that as quickly as possible, okay? So I'm going to turn this back over to Debbie, and then we'll open it up for questions when she's all finished up. And Debbie, thanks for giving me the time to do this.
No, thank you. So after I learned all of what David was saying and more, I decided that the best way for me to turn my life around completely was to share this. And after I went to the launch of the product, and it's kind of like going into the ASEA Healthy Self that we told you about earlier, I heard so many testimonials at that launch that I just knew that this was going to change so many people's lives. It had to. And so I wanted everybody I knew and loved to be on this product. And so I literally just started calling people and sharing it. That's what we call doing the business. Now, I felt obligated because there were people praying for things that had no clue how they were ever going to be helped. Science and medicine had done everything they could for these people, and they were at their wits' end and the last thing that they had. So when I called, they thanked me profusely and just said, if this doesn't work, then I don't know what I'm going to do. And of course it worked. So as more and more people started trying the product and more people got on it, and I saw more and more of my own personal stories of people I had affected, the money just started coming in. In the second month, I had enough to reapply for the loan modification And this time they approved me because I was making enough money with the job that I had and then adding ASEA to it. In a year and a half, I was making 6 figures, and I could actually quit the job at the restaurant and pay for my son's wedding. That was my first goal. He had gotten engaged and married, or engaged, and I was so broke before I couldn't have done anything for him, but I was able to pay for my son's wedding. And literally all I did was just start sharing this with everybody I knew. And so many of us had so many people out there. And you guys know people that we don't know. And so people are out there praying for this. And it's a very simple, easy way to do things. And literally, I didn't know what I was talking about to begin with. I just asked them to watch a short video, like many of you have already watched. And then I would get Cindy Buck, who introduces to me, on the phone with them. And she knew a lot more than I did at the time. And so she was able to answer their questions and field anything that they had coming. And then she said, do you need anything else to make a decision? And so many people just said, sounds like the Fountain of Youth, why wouldn't I try it? And so we're one big team. David and I are on the same team. Many of the people on this phone call are on our team. And we're all here to help anybody who really wants to share this and get it out to help people. And that's literally about doing the business. We're not going to go into compensation plan or anything like that on this webinar, but we are happy to do that at a later date and do some trainings. And so that's doing the business. So at this point, it's about a quarter of, and unless David wants to add anything else, I think we should open it up for questions and see if anybody has any questions that they'd like to get answered. David, did you have anything else that you wanted to add? You really went over everything about the company and everything.
Hold on.
That I would normally do in a business.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, because something's wrong in my computer and I don't know what it is. We have someone who's going to share something about this. And Maza, are you on? Can you hear me? I think you're muted.
Yes, I was muted. Sorry. Yes, I'm here.
All right, no problem. I'm going to stop the recording here. I want you to kind of just share what you've seen. Hang on one second.